Hey everybody. Before we leave the technology course, I would be remiss if I didn't stop and spend a few minutes talking about the ISTE standards that are mentioned in Chapter 7 of Ryan and Cooper. ISTE stands for International Society for Technology and Education, and it's an entity or a group that's been around for almost 25 years. Their goal was to set up standards to allow teachers and students to be able to measure how well they were using technology or integrating technology into teaching and learning. They started with the kinds of standards they thought that students should be able to meet for the 21st century, because as they could already see, employers expect the people that they hire in the 21st century to have technology skills. And so we need to make sure in schools, even if we don't agree that the purpose of education is to prepare people for their career fields, we need to make sure that they are proficient in and very comfortable in using technology. Of course, they know how to do cell phone stuff. They know how to play games. They know how to do everything social media under the sun. And they learn very quickly in all those areas. But do they really know how to use technology for learning? And I found in the course that I teach in the associate's degree program at PSC that the answer is an overwhelming no, they really don't. So as you can see, effective teachers are supposed to model these standards and apply them, but nobody says that you should be able to do this during your first few years of teaching. And nobody says that you have to be able to do it if the school that you work at is very technology poor. However, most schools have some technology. So you need to think about how you can be creative with the technology exists and what is your responsibility for using that technology in your teaching and for allowing your students to use it in their learning. So let's just quickly take a look at the standards. Now for teachers, there used to be many more, but they've consolidated them, thank goodness. So in number 1, you're going to facilitate and inspire student learning and creativity, hopefully. We've talked about this in the course. We've looked at teachers doing this in the video cases. And I don't think this is one that is at all impossible for teachers to meet. Again, you may need to be a little more creative based on the equipment you've got, but we all agree that you can't beat the internet for research. So you need to make sure that you don't ignore this. And the word facilitate is one that doesn't sit well with everyone, but there are some times where you truly need to step to the side and be that coach or facilitator and let students direct their own learning. They expect it. In fact, in some cases, they even demand it. Number 2 is to design and develop digital age learning experiences and assessments. We've focused on that in some of the things that we've done. And so again, it's up to you how you make this happen, but it's definitely doable. And thanks to the internet, there are so many good free quality resources out there that you can do this. Start small if you need to, and then build up every year, maybe add a little bit more. Don't set out to incorporate all of these ideas in one fell swoop or 1 year, regardless of how many years you've been teaching. Number 3 is to model all of this. So you need to show that you have a certain comfort level with technology and that you incorporate it in a tool when you teach. So that's something that if you're a little bit shy about using technology, you need to get over. Never be afraid to allow students to help you. They love it when they can teach you something, and instead of respecting you less, they wind up respecting you more. Sounds backwards, but I'm here to tell you it's really true. I had high school students as my teachers to learn how to use a computer. Didn't even know how to turn one on. And so my student who was hearing impaired helped me. I had other students who stayed after school to help me, and they worked much harder for me afterwards because then, I don't know, for some reason it just made this great rapport between the two of us. Or maybe they saw that teaching is a little bit more difficult than it initially looks. Number 4 is promote and model digital citizenship and responsibility. Remember, you are no longer, as the teacher, expected to be the fountain of all knowledge about any given subject area or grade level, but you are expected to be able to locate information, to be able to manage that information, retrieve that information when you need to, and verify its validity. And you need to pass those skills on to your students as is appropriate. You also need to make sure that they are safe in the online environment. You need to be able to address all of their needs. So you have students with learning disabilities, you have students who do not have the same resources at home as the rest of their classmates. You have students who have physical disabilities and will be challenged in some ways to use the technology. And the buck stops with you. It's your responsibility to make all of it work. But as you can see, technology is often the answer for meeting those diverse needs. So if nothing else, you need to look at number 4 and embrace it, because here technology is your very, very best friend. And the 5th one, engaging in professional growth. Can't stress this enough. The kind of professional development that you are going to be expected to complete as you progress through your education career. Every 5 years you've got to recertify and up that teaching certificate again. Those kinds of professional growth opportunities, a lot of them are going to come to you online. And so you should be well versed in it. After you take the entire EPI program, you should not even blink an eye when somebody says you have to do an online workshop. No problem for you. And you had me as your teacher, so you can survive anything online. So you need to embrace that and not be afraid of it. This is what you also need to use as your biggest problem solver. Jump on that internet and Google it. You'll find another teacher who had the same or a similar problem. You'll find ideas that you want to embrace. You'll find ideas that you want to reject. And in rejecting them, it helps you think of the ideas that you really need or you really want to incorporate into your own teaching and learning, either using technology or not. So the internet is also a great sounding board for teachers who have to constantly think about how to engage the students in front of them this year who could be radically different, or at least their needs are radically different than the ones they had last year. And also you are expected to engage with those curriculum standards. So again, the internet is your best friend to find good ways, solid ways, effective ways to incorporate those curriculum standards. So again, technology is only your friend. Embrace it, use it. Don't ever make the excuse to yourself that it's too hard or it's too difficult or you don't like it or you don't believe in it. Oh, that ship has sailed, my friends. Don't be afraid to take advantage of the resources on their website. As you can see, there are standards for students, teachers, administrators, even coaches, and last but not least, computer science educators. There are profiles that you could look at to see what the profile of a teacher who is using technology might be, what a student who is using technology might be, and those are separated into grade levels. So I used this as my first and foremost resource when I was writing a grant to get technology for my classroom or on a grant committee to get technology for the school. I stepped here and I could find all the resources and cite them so that I could say, look, my idea is backed up in sound research. My idea is not just one that I dreamt up because I think these would be cool tools for me to play with in my off time. And so ISTE was always a wonderful resource. It's well known and well respected.